What up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. It is a glorious Tuesday. It's June 24th, and it seems like the year is just moving away from us. We are halfway through United Grid League season. We've got the culminating piece of the regular season here in a few weeks in Dallas, and what a person to spend the day with, talking about that and talking about the best team right now in the United Grid League. Roderick Holloway is going to be stopping by to join us. He's going to talk about his fitness journey, his story. He's going to talk about the Sharks, his journey through grid, and really, my big question is what I've been asking all the Sharks is this the best version of the Sharks that we've ever seen? Could be, maybe, but we'll get Roderick's story. We'll talk to him here in a minute. But before he joins us, we got to plug the sponsors. Got to keep the lights on up in here. So the Grid and Grind Show is brought to you by the Mental Game Performance Coaching. If nerves, pressure, or overthinking are stealing your game day success, the Mental Game helps athletes turn practice into performance when it matters most. Go over to tmgperformancecoaching.com to book your game planning session. It's free, no charge. They can help you address your needs and get you on a path to success. The best version and the best athlete that you can be, the Mental Game is there to help you do it. Jesus One Apparel, empowering men, women, children to embody and live the message of John 16:33. Jesus won and continues to win each and every day. Chinook Seeds, whether you're on the field or in the boardroom signing deals, Chinook helps you get the job done. 8 flavors, mild to wild. Go to your local gas station, grocery store, convenience store, and pick up the best sunflower seeds in the game. And yes, college baseball is now officially over. Shout out to the national champions, the LSU Tigers. A lot of guests. As a matter of fact, our college baseball show on the Off the Bench podcast, the most guests on the show come from LSU. And that's been a trend. If you, over the past 6 years, the most guests from any school has went on to win the national championship. It's crazy. It's not coincidental anymore. It's just fact. So if you're wanting to win a national championship, come on the college baseball show and we'll get you one. That's just how it works. And then finally, Old Dominick Distillery. Experience 150 years of tradition in the heart of downtown Memphis. From bourbon to vodka, whiskey to gin, Old Dominick's got you covered. Stop in today for a tour or to pick up your favorite bottle. Head over to Old Dominick Distillery and you can pick up any of their bottles shipped directly to your house. No easier way to have a nice little nightcap or just to enjoy an afternoon in front of the TV watching some sports or some ball. So with that, let's get to it. The bills have been paid. I got to welcome onto the show the man of the hour, Mr. Roderick Holloway. Roderick, how we doing, brother?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm great, man. It was nice to finally get a chance to meet you a couple of weeks ago when you came down to Tampa. The Sharks, obviously taking care of a lot of business, and we'll talk about all that. But man, you are, what people may not know about you. You are, you're not the most outgoingest like athlete out there, but you are definitely a guy who deserves some respect because you have quite the resume. 2-time CrossFit Games team athlete, 2017, 2021. Been a member of the United Grid League for quite some time. You're on the best team in the league. You're a vet of the United Grid League. And, man, like all of that being said, man, it was very nice to finally get a chance to meet you and talk to you. But with that, we gotta get into it. So how does someone like you get into fitness? I mean, and I'll say this. Out of all the things that I just said, Dan Jackson, most attractive grid player. I mean, you're not lying, Dan. You're not. But how do you get into fitness? Like, are you a sports guy growing up, like, or do you just like find the weight room coincidentally and you're like, man, I love it in here?
Honestly, I grew up with two parents that were very much into fitness. My mom coached and did some personal training, and she did do the aerobics classes. My dad was a wrestler, and he was in track and field, and he would go to the weight room, and I have pictures of me when I was younger, lifting with him in the weight room when I was 3. So, for fun, like throw his gloves on, I throw his belt on, and just put a dumbbell in my hand. And I have always been into fitness from then on. But at 3, my mom put me in gymnastics. So I was a gymnast from 3 years old to 18 years old, always
I
doing
mean, that's
some sort of, yeah.
yeah. So when you talk about being a gymnast, at 3, like I think a lot of people are go, man, that's really young, but I don't think it is for gymnastics. Like to be elite level gymnast, like you have to start early. Um, and obviously for you, like you move so well on the grid, and now it all makes sense because you have this gymnastics background where your mobility, your stability, your core strength, and just it just builds so much strength in you that allows it translates really well into grid. And how far did you take gymnastics?
I didn't go to college and do it. I did get some scholarships, but I just ended up not going. Um, but I went to regionals, nationals. I was on the regional team, national team multiple times. I won state championships multiple times. I trained at the Olympic Training Center for a week, and that was really awesome when I was 10. So I've trained with a lot of Olympians, that I'm,
What's the reason not to pursue it any further? Was it just you're tired? Just I mean, obviously you started at an early age and you can get burnt out or you just what was the reason? Because obviously you were very good at it.
honestly, yeah, I did get a little bit burnt out. I got not so good coaching my last 2 or 3 years of gymnastics. So from like 16 to 18, uh, my coach kind of really just focused on a different gymnast who was very good, but kind of just left me in the corner, and I kind of did what I wanted to do. But I was the kind of person that needed that push, and I wasn't getting that. It made me feel like I wasn't good enough to go to college. I was very hard on myself. Um, Looking back now, I would go to like college meets and stuff and be like, oh, well, I could do that. I could still do that. I could do that. Because I ended up coaching for 10 years after I got done doing gymnastics.
Yeah. What
Um,
was what's that experience like knowing like you get into coaching and you're like, do you have any regrets and you let one coach can be what prevents you from moving your career forward? Do you have any regrets as far as like, not pursuing it, or was coaching that thing that was able to fill the void? Because I'll give you an example myself. Like when I was done playing baseball, like I had no regrets when I stopped playing because I was coaching and I enjoyed coaching way more than playing. I don't know why. I could probably get into another podcast and we could talk about the why of that, but I just got more satisfaction out of coaching and it filled that competitive void that baseball had left me. But for you, was it kind of a similar situation?
I would say coaching did help fill that void a little bit. I could take my talent, my experience, and move it on to others. But yeah, I did have some regret not going into gymnastics. I was a part of a team for my whole life, so I didn't know anything else. I went to gymnastics 4 hours a day, 5 to 6 times a week. That's all I did. I eat, breathe, sleep, gymnastics. And so it's like having a full-time job when you're a child.
Yeah.
But I also was very good at it and I liked it and went to multiple camps. But yes, I did regret not going to college and doing it. Um, I had a sports psychologist as a coach for a long time. And then he kind of moved on and started working with other, professional teams like the Rams, the Cardinals, the Blues. He would do college teams. So he just didn't have time to coach gymnastics anymore. And that's when I got a different coach, and that didn't work out very well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would say I do regret not going to gymnastics or not going to college and doing gymnastics.
I'm curious this. the original coach that was a sports psychologist, like, what was different about him or this coach in regards to how they coached you? Was it how they coached you or just how they coached in general because they had a sports psychology background?
I think, like any relationship, it's if you have a coach that really seems like they care about you and they want you to succeed and do better, and not just only in the sport that you're in, but in everyday life, and that's what he did for me. Um, that helped me a lot because I needed that push. I was the kind of person that was super hard on myself. I could get first place at a meet, I could get first place on every single event and be like, well, I didn't do good enough. Like, I didn't do my standard of my capabilities that day, and I would get really upset. And he was kind of there for me to like talk me down from the ledge. Like, no, you're doing awesome. You're
It,
one of the best in the state. You're one of the best in the country. Like, you're doing awesome. So I kind of needed that. And having a coach from when you're 3 years old to 18, I didn't know how to do it by myself. So I needed that push. And I think he just helped me with that.
it's gymnastics is a lot like baseball. It's just a game of like you're striving for perfection, but a lot of times you're never going to reach it,
Hmm.
and just because in gymnastics it's very hard to be perfect. It's very, very hard to get a 10 on everything. There's these little, checks and stuff that get deductions. And baseball similar, like if you're a pitcher, like you're striving for a perfect game, but the reality is that is very hard to do. And so like you can get in your head a lot and really like pull yourself away from being the best athlete that you can be, um just simply by like having that mindset of I'm trying to strive for perfection and not really enjoying the process and really worrying about the outcome of everything and not your preparation, um and all the hard work that you went in. So I can see how having a coach like that really makes a difference as far as like, you know, can't like opening you up to see like, yes, I'm really good. And there are going to be moments where I'm not perfect and that's okay. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the big thing with people that are able to coach, especially from a mindset standpoint, is being able to coach through those what's considered outcome based like athletes are constantly worrying about what is the outcome, not what they're doing to prepare. And sometimes the outcome is completely out of your control, and so, shout out to him. Like that's awesome. Let me let me get to CrossFit. So at what point then your gymnastics career comes to an end, you start coaching, but then you become or you find CrossFit. Where does CrossFit come into the picture?
So I went to college. I went to Missouri State University in Springfield, Missouri. Um, and I took the 6 months off of like not working out completely, which was very different for me, but I was learning to live a different life. Um,
How is that? How just like how is are you someone that enjoyed that or like do you feel like the whole time you're like I got to get out and do something?
at the time, I really enjoyed it. I, my whole life was gymnastics. I didn't do anything else. So at the time, I really enjoyed it. I gained that freshman 15. I came back. I came home. My grandma was like, you look bigger." She didn't even say hi. But that's like how our family is, and
You can't tell
me.
your grandma how you really feel. Like, you know what, grandma?
Yeah.
I'm talking right
So
now.
that summer, I lost 15 pounds like right away. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I've been fit my entire life. I've been like below 4% body fat, being in gymnastics, eating whatever I wanted. And now I can't live like that anymore. So I did have to get used to that. The next year I came back and I started lifting weights and doing everything active, playing baseball, for fun, playing soccer, playing football, playing racquetball, playing tennis. I did everything. And then CrossFit came in actually after I graduated college. And I was coaching at a gymnastics gym. And one of the team members, his mom, was the owner of a CrossFit gym. It was a CrossFit Kirkwood in St. Louis, Missouri. So she's like, "Oh, would you like to try this?" And I always wanted to try it, but as a college kid, I didn't have any money. So, $150 a month was a lot.
That's the
So
one
I would,
downside, man. To get
yeah,
it's a hefty expense to get into CrossFit if you're not like a young professional, if you're in college or whatever, or like even if you're just like me, like if you put me high school me and gave me the opportunity to do CrossFit, like I would love that,
yes,
but it is like it's a college tuition to go there.
yeah. I wish I had started sooner. I mean, I wasn't making minimum wage, but I was making $10 an hour
Yeah.
back then, which was a little more than minimum wage. So I'm not making enough to do that, and that's drinking money.
Yeah.
Um, so I went to your normal Ozark. I went to your normal like Lifetime Fitness kind of thing for a long time, but she let me join. I got to join for free. I ended up being really good at it. I made regionals my first year as an individual in 2014, and then I made regionals again in 2015 individually, and then 2016 I felt really, really good, but I ended up breaking my arm and dislocating my left elbow at a competition, so I was out for that year. But that's where I started CrossFit.
Did you do you feel like with the gymnastics background, like you had not a competitive edge because you still have to like get in CrossFit shape, but like do you feel like it came to you easier because you had that background?
Absolutely, yeah. And I had been lifting weights. Uh, the only things I really didn't know was like I didn't even know what a snatch was when I started CrossFit, but I was able to pick up on it very quickly. And my first regionals, I got third place in the snatch. So like I just like mobility from gymnastics, I think that helped out a lot. It was just a hang squat snatch. And then double unders were rough for me my first year. I couldn't do those.
It's,
But other than that, I
how
could
long
do
did it
everything. What's up?
how long did it take for you to master double unders?
Um, I would say master them like a couple years to master them. Like, be able to get 100 consistently
See,
while I'm tired. Yeah.
that's what that normal CrossFitter wants to hear is that yeah, you could come in there on day one and do your ring muscle ups and your bar muscle ups and things that people just are pissed off to watch you the first day you walk into a CrossFit gym be able to do. But it's very nice to know like the average CrossFitter is like, yes, he was not good at something. That's nice to
Yeah.
know.
It is funny. It
But
is funny when people are like, jealous of what I can do,
yeah,
but they don't think about what I did do to get there, or what anyone
yeah,
did to get there, the whole life they lived before before CrossFit or fitness. I
they don't want to. It's almost like if you're an average CrossFitter and you start a CrossFit gym and you're working out and you see somebody comes in, it's like you immediately hate that person, but you're right. Like you have no idea the background that these people come in. I'll give you an example. I was like 2 or 3 years into CrossFit and I felt like I was in pretty good shape, probably the best shape of my life. And I was able to do a lot of things, and like the learning, like it was just in that period of time where it was still new enough where I was still like hitting PRs and stuff and feeling good. There was a guy that came in there, and like, I'm not going to say his name, but you would look at him and you would be like, this guy is unathletic. And let me tell you something. He got on the rower and just smashed the rower. He got on the run and just like smashed runs. And like, those are things where like I wanted to be better at. And I was just pissed. But then I got to know this guy, and he was a Division 1 swimmer. And like, he was just like this, like, pretty in shape dude, despite, and he would be the first to tell you, like, I look like I can't do anything, but I can actually do a lot of things. So, um,
I
you never know. You never know what
yeah,
people's background
I
is.
I say that story. My first like bigger competition was with Jared Stevens. I don't know if you know any of these people, but Jacob Hepner was there.
Yeah.
He got first at this one, but I just felt like I shouldn't be there. Like the way these guys looked, just shredded,
Yeah.
big, like very athletic. I was like, God, I don't know if I should be here. But then I ended up getting fourth place. It's like I didn't look like them, but I was good enough to be there.
It did. I mean, that had to be eye opening for you as an athlete to go, holy shit, like I got to get out of my head and know that
Yeah,
I belong here, because despite what these dudes look like none of that really matters. It comes down performance. And if you're
yeah,
able to perform, man, and finishing fourth, when you're talking about those types of athletes, those are, high level games athletes that you're talking about. Like, early in your career, you're competing toe to toe with those guys. That's pretty damn cool. Um,
yeah, yeah. That was exciting.
So at what point do you go, all right, I'm going to not do individual and I'm going to focus on team? Or were you always focusing on individual? It just the team is the opportunity that presented itself for you?
Yeah, the second part there. I was focused on individual. I did want to make the games individually.
Mhm.
After I broke my arm, it kind of took me out of CrossFit for like 9 months. And then Timberwolf CrossFit in Minnesota found me. They saw my resume, and they invited me to kind of come up for a camp to do some CrossFit with them. Felt like I was good enough. I joined the team, and then, I mean, we have really good people on
They-
our team.
that was a really good team.
Yeah, the women are just phenomenal. Uh, Paige Semenza, Andrea Nisler, Kelly Wild. Just you just didn't have to worry about them. They were going to work hard. They were
Yeah.
going to get the job done. Um, and then Tony Cohen's and Anthony Davis, who's just massively strong. Um, but
Did it make you like, does it make you a better athlete to have to compete with those types of athletes on a day-to-day basis? Or are you the type of athlete where I can flip the switch whether I'm by myself or with whoever, like, and you're going to get the same performance out of me?
it does just it makes you want to do better for them.
Yeah.
You know, I want to always do my job, but it does make you want to do better when you're working out with them. Most of the time, we do our own individual thing, but then we get together as a team and do that, and it does make you want to do better. It makes you want to push a little bit harder, which is good and gets you ready for regionals and the games, because that's how it's going to be. Yeah.
Definitely. How do you find grid? Do you find grid in the midst of all the regionals and games appearances, or is this something after that?
So grid I found before I went to the games. Found that in 2014 or 15, I believe. Uh, my coach found that, and she thought I should try out for it. So I did, and since I was such like a high level gymnast, as you can see now, grid has a lot of high level gymnastics movements.
Yeah.
I was honestly pretty much a shoe-in because not many people at the time could do those grid level movements like the backward roll to support or back up rises. Like I could do all of that. So like when the coach saw that, they're like, "Oh, we need him. He can do this." I don't know if you saw the video that Ruby put up a couple weeks ago, but it was when we were doing professional grid league and I was going up against Noah Olson doing the backward roll support.
Yeah.
Back then we had to do 15 backward roll to support, not 5. So I got up and I did 15 in a row, and then I, come down and we won that race at least. But yeah, my level of gymnastics was very high back then for grid.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, you've competed against the highest of the highs, and like you're still crushing it. Like I need whatever you just drank. I need that. Whatever you're eating, I need to eat that. Like, I mean, that's Dan says, genuinely speaking, Rod is the strongest bodyweight specialist in the NPGL. I don't disagree with that. I've seen you throw the weight around.
I have to throw it around now. I weigh a lot more than I used to. I think when I was in professional grid league, I was 195, and I'm 215 now.
Hey, got them gains, bro.
Gains.
So
yep.
So were you on an NPGL team, and if so, who were you with?
I was with the Miami Surge, which is the team that Ruby and Mather owned. Gotcha. And then they took over, Florida Grid League, which is now United Grid League. So I've known them since the beginning.
All right. So now I got questions because, all right, so they take over, they turn this thing into the Florida Grid League, and you play with the Miami Surge in the NPGL. There was a Miami team in the Florida Grid League, but you were with the Palm Beach Elite, right?
Yes. Yep.
How come there was no spot for Roderick on the Miami team?
I don't think it was the same team. I don't know. It was just the Palm Beach Elite. That's who asked me first.
Gotcha.
To get back into it. Yeah.
And so you spend it, I guess, how long do you spend with the Elite before you end up being a Shark?
I just did a year. Yeah. I did a year with the Elite, and then I went to who was I first? Was it Palm Beach Elite or the Breakers? I don't remember.
I think for you,
they're both blue teams. Oh, yeah. Tampa Bay Brigade. I wasn't with the Palm Beach. I was with the Breakers. What were they? They had a different name at the beginning. Was it Palm Beach Elite?
I think it was the Elite. Okay. Social media, unless it's AI. I saw you in a Elite jersey. Oh my gosh!
I've been on all the AI pictures, so apparently I'm on every team.
Here, I got the facts, and Matt Hornaday's not going to stray us wrong. He said it was the Elite.
Elite. Okay, yeah.
And then you went to the Brigade.
Yeah, that's right.
Dan, that's right. Matt Hornaday for the win. He's coming in. He's
right.
Our resident.
Okay, thank you.
So,
thank you.
All right. So why then move to the Sharks? What made that switch come across? Or
so I had stopped doing grid for a year or two, I think, because I was trying to make the games again. Yeah. But with the Sharks, Sammy Nally.
Yeah.
She was on my CrossFit Games team in 2021, and then she knew I wasn't competing or doing anything, so she asked me if I wanted to do grid with her. So I joined the team there, and it's honestly been amazing. It's fun. We win, which is cool. Not making fun of any other team, but it's nice to win and have a good time, and everybody gets along. There's nobody on that team that doesn't want us to win. There's nobody on that team that doesn't understand if they're not in a race, why they're not in the race. Everybody gets it. We still fight for our spots, but all of us are so talented that if one person can't do something, we'll have another person step in. This last race, the sprint relay in the last race, Fico comes up to me and he's like, all right, the sprint relay, I'm going to have you do the snatches, but I need you to be ready to do the burpee ring touches, and I need you to be ready to do the clean, the clusters at the end. I was like, okay, I'll just be ready for everything, just in case. Yeah. Which
you want me to do all four? You mean do all four of the suicides first too? I got you. Let me know.
And there's no like, no, I don't want to do that. It's whatever you need me for, I'll be ready for it if I need to do it. Which is great because you need to be ready for the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And luckily I didn't have to do any of them, but I was ready if I had to.
So you guys are currently 2-0. You're kicking a lot of ass right now. It's a good problem, but also the toughest problem as a coach to have when you just have a roster that's deep as y'all's. And it's refreshing to hear, like, the egos are checked, like nobody is upset about being in a lineup or not being in a lineup, or like going last year doing certain races or certain elements and then this year not. It's just about winning. And what do you think, like, is this the best version of the Sharks that they've had?
I don't know the Sharks before, but this is the best team I've ever been on. As far as last year, we're better than that. We just have not only the talent, but we're all very smart, and we all coach one another how to make ourselves a little bit better, a little bit faster in each race, what technique works a little bit better. Hey, Fico's really good at this, but he's like, hey, we're going to try this, just see if it works out. But this should, make this race 2 seconds quicker.
That's an
Fico and Conce are the heart of this team. They're amazing, and they've been awesome to work with. And I think that's part of what makes every team member want to do just that little bit better, because they have our best interests at heart. They want us to win also. They take care of us. I'm super excited to be on their team along with all my teammates.
So the big thing that I've heard a lot of athletes say, I talked to Chelsea Ranieri a couple weeks ago and she mentioned this, and I talked to Fico last week and he mentioned this, and the thing is winning every race. And so far you've been able to do that. So what is the reality that you can actually win every single race this season?
We have the talent to win every race. We just need to put it together when we're out there, and we have had some, things didn't go according to plan. But like I said before, when Fico was like, be ready for this, be ready for this, we talk about all of that stuff. So it doesn't come to us and like, oh my gosh, what do we do now? That isn't in any of our brains because we already know what to do. If this person fails, you're going to go in and you're going to do this. If this person fails, you're going to go in and you're going to do this. We're just ready for everything.
That's when you got a roster that deep and a bench of just athletes, it's super nice just to be able to go, I could pick any number of athletes to go out and do anything. So if option A fails, I know that I have a really good option B and a really good option C if we get that
Yep.
far. Are you guys going to be challenged this season? Do you think you're going to
I
be
think so.
challenged? What?
Yeah, I think so. The Breakers are really good, and the Tampa Bay Brigade are really good. I don't think any of them are as deep as we are, but if everything goes according to plan for them, I think we can be challenged, which is good. I want that. I don't want to go to a team and we're playing against the B squad. I want to play against the A squad. I want to win. And this is what I talked about before with even with gymnastics. I would get first place at state, but I was like, oh, these guys are okay. They're not as good as the regional athletes or the national athletes. I want the national athletes. I want the athletes that are going to challenge us, and I want to beat them at the same time.
Right.
So I want that, and I do think we will be challenged. I still think we can win every race.
What's the message then? Because when you look on the surface at last season and this season, record wise, like you're on the same trajectory, having an undefeated regular season, going into the playoffs. But what does the team talk about, or do they talk about anything in regards to last season and being in that situation, but having to finish the job now?
We're a really good team about moving on to the next race, moving on to the next match. Yes, I've discussed the last season with like David, with Chelsea, with our coaches, obviously, but we don't really think about it that much. We think about right now. We think about what we can do now, the talent that we have now. Like Kelsey Keel's on the team, Dana, Z, who's amazing. Just we know what we have now. We don't need to worry about last season. So
Makes
that's
sense.
in the rear view mirror.
Yeah,
we know what we're capable
you
of.
don't you don't want to harp on the past, especially like if you don't win it all, which is the goal every year. Like, what's the point of sitting there rehashing out last
Exactly.
season? But it is good to use it as a little motivation, as a little fuel to keep winning every race, because you can't afford to have a drop off, and you don't want anybody to get hurt, and you want to stay the course, because you guys are on a pretty solid trajectory as far as meeting the ultimate goal that you guys have, which is to win it all.
Yes.
But I'll ask you this, Roderick. You've been in the league for a while. You've seen a lot of different things. If the Sharks win it all, what is the one thing that contributed to that? What is the overarching reason why the Sharks win it all if you guys do?
Our coaching.
Coaching?
I think in the end, it's strategy, it's coaching. We already have the talent there. It's just having someone that can put it all together, that takes the time to say, hey, you're going to be here, you're going to be here, you're going to go over here. I know you want to be in this race, but this person's a little bit faster than you are. And then the understanding, and that all comes from Fico and Conce.
Well, you guys get to prove it here in a couple weeks. You'll be headed out to Dallas July 12th. You're taking on the Bandits. And then July 13th, it could set up for a very, very big matchup with the Brigade. As far as being in the Western Conference, you and the Brigade are both 2-0. If things pan out the way that, record wise and team wise, like everyone thinks they will, you guys will pick up a win against the Bandits. They'll pick up a win against the Venom, and you guys will meet in that week 4 matchup on the 13th. Now, you can't look forward to the Brigade, but like, is there strategy as far as like because this is a different situation, because you're playing on one day and then you turn around and have a huge match if you win the first day with the Brigade. It's almost like a playoff scenario with back-to-back days of matches. Like, obviously, you don't want to overlook the Bandits, but do you have to go into the weekend thinking about both of the matches?
Yeah, you do, because we have to train for both matches. That's where like a little bit more strategy comes in, because you don't want to have someone do too much this first match against the Bandits, and then we have to go in and the next morning, because we're like the first match.
Yeah.
And then you got that person who's ripped their hands, or they're a little bit more tired from the night before. So you got to really think about who would be good to go in for the team that you are playing. So, unfortunately, it's the Bandits the first year, so they're going to have some growing pains. So maybe we don't need to throw in our, number one guy or number one girl in a certain race, because we can still, squeak out the win. Let's save them for match 2 and against the other team. So I think as far as that goes, that's how I would think of it.
You got when you have both of the, like, what's the toll the body, like, you're a high level CrossFit athlete, you've been doing good for a while, like, does this take a toll on your body to be able to have to compete in a match one day and then turn around less than 24 hours and do it again?
Yes, it does. It does. It's hard for me, and I'm not the oldest on the team. Blake is now, which is great because I don't get made fun of as much. But I'm still the second oldest on the team, so it is a struggle to recover from all of that. It's super high intensity, so I need just a little bit more time. But I'll drink a rain and have another energy drink and go for it.
Ready to go. Let's go. Well, either way, Roderick, it's going to be big. It's going to be the stakes continuously get bigger, because if you win against the Bandits on July 12th, you get the Brigade, and hopefully they do what they're supposed to do, and you set up what you're looking for. You want the best of the best. You want to compete against the best, and that's what hopefully week 4 on the 13th of July will give you, is the top 2 teams in the conference battling for the conference championship, but also potentially a number 1 seed in playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's going to be awesome. It's going to be big. What are there any elements or any races that you're looking forward to in that weekend?
Oh, fuck all of it.
Handstand walk obstacle course?
I don't know if I'm doing that one, but I'm gonna give it a shot. We haven't got all of our assignments yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Maybe some double touches, maybe some chest to bar pull-ups. I don't know.
He's gonna say be ready for everything.
Yeah, no, I mean I know I need to be ready for everything, so I can't say what I'm looking forward to the most. I don't know.
It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be fun. A lot to prove. A lot of meat on that bone. But Roderick, man, I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Anything that you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
I actually have a sponsor this year. I don't normally do sponsors, but Barkey Golf is my sponsor. He's actually my brother-in-law. He owns a golf apparel company. But yeah, look up Barkey Golf on Instagram. They sell a lot of apparel, hats, socks, covers for the golf clubs and stuff like that.
The question is, does it make you a better golfer?
I went golfing this past weekend, and it did not for me, but I'm sure it works for other people.
At least you look good. At least you had the right gear on and you look good. I mean, that's half the battle. I mean,
yes. Yep.
For me, it's more about having the right beverages to have a good time. I mean, that's what I'm about on the golf course.
I think I just drink to, take away the pain of how bad it is to lose all those balls, but it was a good time.
I have a firm rule in my golf game, and that's I will always go to the range, and this is probably frowned upon, but this could be a hot take. But I'm gonna take 6 or 7 range balls with me on the course.
Okay.
I'm not losing my I know when I get on a hole if I'm gonna lose a ball or not. And
Okay.
if I know that, I'm using a range ball, man.
I like that idea. I need to do that. I definitely need to do that.
It saves me money on buying, those elite level golf balls that are supposed to help with slices and stuff that don't do shit for me.
No.
So, but Roderick, man, go get after it. I appreciate the time. If there's anything I can do for you along the way, man, reach out, brother.
Will do. I'll see you at the next match.
Yes, sir. That is Roderick Holloway of the 2-0 Southwest Florida Sharks. Big weekend coming up in July, the 12th and the 13th. They're taking on the Bandits on the 12th. If they take care of business, they'll hopefully get a brigade team, a 3-0 brigade team. The Sharks will be 3-0. It'll be for all the Western Conference marbles and set the stage for where playoffs will seed teams accordingly. And, it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. Dallas Mesquite Convention Center, Dallas, Texas, July 12th, July 13th. It's all going down. So hit up the United Grid League website if you want to know how to check out the action, maybe you're going to be in Dallas and you want to get tickets. Check it out, and you'll go see some of the most intense, exciting, fun, really fitness, racing that that's the best way to describe it. Just come see it, and I guarantee you'll have a good time. So with that, this has been a great week. Appreciate Roderick for joining us. I know he's a busy dude. Anytime the athletes can carve out a little time for me, makes me feel really special. So I appreciate that. Next week, we've got busy week, but more so on the end of college baseball. We got to recap some things over the season. We've got a new season ahead. We got 2 new hosts that are going to be joining the podcast network. So be on the lookout for that. But for the Grid and Grind show, Dakota Shackleton will be on the show on the 30th. So looking forward to having him. I'm going to have Sam Crivet of the New York Wolves. He's going to be on. Bailey Yarbrough is going to be on, setting all those up currently. And so be on the lookout. A lot of content coming your way. Appreciate y'all. Head over to YouTube, like, subscribe, notifications. That way you know when that new content is out. Hearts, hugs, loves. We'll take it all. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of the week. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grid and grind all the time. We're out.